Are there any juicy, embarrassing projects that you've worked on that?
I have juicy.
How juicy?
I don't know. I have juicy projects. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have embarrassing projects because I don't get embarrassed.
Welcome back to another episode of Nothing New, the show where we sit on our laurels and cry into our drinks, take the lens of today to look back on our regrets and our accomplishments of the past. I have it in good word from our intelligence agencies that the snow outside from 2 nights ago is beginning to melt. So if you're able to see that, that may be a boon to you, or it might be a nightmare. Who knows? Today with me, I have Keren Katz, an enigmatic artist, performance connoisseur, a magical person. Keren, you are calling in from Tel Aviv, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Tel Aviv quarantine 10/870/ for day 798 of isolation.
Are they treating you all right there?
Yes, plenty of food. Yeah.
That's good. So let's start out. Let's address the elephant in the room. You go by many names. I call you Keren, but I believe I at one point in time I looked up the pronunciation of your name, and it seemed like it was more like Karen. What's the deal with your name?
It's just I mean, the majority of people call me Karen, but in White River Junction, everybody calls me Keren. I just allow anyone to pronounce it however they want because in Hebrew it sounds so different anyway, and even I can't fully pronounce my own name in Hebrew because of the middle consonant. It's like a R.
Karen, 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 Keren, Karen, Kian, Keren, 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 Keren,
Karen.
Keren, Keren,
Karen.
Karen.
My name is Karen.
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 I don't really mind.
Yeah, I've even heard a radical subset of people pronounce it Kareen. So at least I'm not one of them. You graphic artist, sequential artist, or graphic illustrator, cartoonist. What sort of monikers do you apply to yourself these days?
I like cartoonist the best. I think silliness is the best way to describe what I'm drawn to do. But my medium is cartooning.
You've got a very unique drawing style that I would kind of describe the people that you draw kind of as if they're satin sheets blowing in the wind, and everyone always kind of has this dreamy expression on their face, and they're wearing Renaissance garbs or something almost. How do you describe your art?
Well, since I started my life dancing, mostly ballet, I'm very inspired by costumes and stage lighting and fabrics. When I started drawing, I didn't notice I was doing it, but I guess it's so embedded in me. And then the eyes, I mostly draw generic facial expressions, mostly keeping the eyes of the characters closed, because for me it's about movement, first of all, and that anyone can become anything at any moment in time. When I write things, I write them only as if to say, these are the words that came up to mind when I was drawing this at this specific moment in time. But if you meet me tomorrow and I use the same drawings and I tell you the same story with other words will appear, and the movements will be danced in a different order. I like the freedom of improvisation, so I try to keep everything very loose and a little bit weird or detached.
Well, I think that maybe leads into a great segue into your past. I remember at one point you played us a video, I believe, of your high school senior thesis dance. Maybe if we're lucky, we can edit in some footage from that. What was that choreographed to?
Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that movie is the #1 most influential movie for me. Skeleton Jack, the way he is always spidering out of his own body, and none of his joints ever touch the other joints, and yet everything about him is completely loose and detached from a physical reality. He's my spirit animal, and I choreographed my final thesis around it. I went to a kind of performing art high school. The bell that was the sign when the class ended was the theme song of Fame.
The theme song of Fame?
Yeah, the movie Fame.
I know you have a
oh yeah,
like a zine here, or how would you describe this thing that you've sent me?
So what I sent was I was looking at things which books I created, because I make books, that's my thing. So the one I sent is called Adventure in the Museum, and it was commissioned by the Israeli Museum of Dada. What we did was we said, okay, we're gonna start our own museum in the lobby of the real museum. And my friend Dan Lalon, who's also a cartoonist in my cartooning collective in Tel Aviv, was the manager. I was his employee. He was in Berlin, and he faxed me an inventory catalog of everything you need for your museum, like glass vitrines and do not cross velvet ropes and museum benches and signs. And he used this, and he sent me instructions of week by week what I have to do to make our museum successful. And we got a budget because I'd recently returned from living in New York. I was given a grant by the Israeli Ministry of Immigration to support me in my transition back home, as long as we thank them in the book. And the Ministry of Immigration in Israel is also called the Ministry of Klita, which means, and Aliyah, which means any person that is Jewish in the world, if they move to Israel, they are offered immediate citizenship, automatic citizenship. Out of respect for their mission, we everything that we ordered for our museum out of eBay, we performed a ritual to make it Jewish. And the first thing was shrunken heads. Every museum has to have a shrunken head. So we started negotiating with a shrunken head dealer. And then we noticed that every picture that he sent it on the backdrop of his house. So you can see bits of his kitchen and living room. And so we decided, okay, we're never going to have the budget for it because we were working on a $400 budget for the entire collection. So we thought, oh, we're just going to get him to slowly reveal the layout of his entire house. So we started asking what he has, and he sent us pictures of his stock, which was like mummified hens and stuff. And then we just started building a miniature of his apartment. And then that was the centerpiece for the museum. Then we came across taxidermy coyote, because taxidermy is also part of the thing that museums have. And we found a coyote that was like kind of like going like this on eBay, and we laughed so hard that we said add to cart. And then we started shopping for more stuff. But it was $150, which was over a quarter of the budget. And also we're both vegan, so we weren't going to support taxidermy anyway to begin with. So we planned to take it off of the cart before we paid, but we forgot because we were laughing so much. And then a month later, a shrunken head, because we did end up getting like a fake one from Goatskin or something from eBay. The shrunken head and the coyote head came in the mail, and he went to get it, and he sent me a message that he's like, I just received 2 heads in the mail, and it was gross, and it wasn't taxidermied properly, and it had flies in the box. And then I had to get rid of it in the trash. It was terrible. So our entire budget was nearly gone, and we had to order some Byzantine objects, which were labeled on eBay as Byzantine objects. And so we ordered those. And it came with an apology note because it was basically a rusty spoon and some stuff that said, "Oh, I'm sorry, these are not genuine Byzantine objects, but to compensate you, I'm adding this collection of donkey clippings." We also ordered owl puke, World War II buttons from a Nazi uniform, because Israel is very into like World War II memorabilia. And my friend Geffen drew portraits of the people that sent us the stuff from eBay because they had really weird names like Satanovsky, or Boris Borisov. My partner Ron made, because he's a computer scientist and he makes robots.
When you brag about me, you never say my boyfriend is a poet. You say my boyfriend builds robots.
He made like a computerized generator of captions for everything. So he automatically generated these tiny histories or descriptions. And then one of the instructions I received was to make sure there was always a really quiet atmosphere, respectful atmosphere in the museum. So my friend Adar Goldfarb brought in a car, which he attached drumsticks and a drum to the wind wipers, and he brought in the car that was drumming into the museum to, of course, so that I would get fired. But when we produced the catalog, we had to thank the Ministry of Klita and Aliyah and say, thank you for making it possible to Jewishify all these eBay items. This troop of people I do a bunch of stuff with. Our prompt was, let's all make a horror movie in a month. On day 3, we completely diverged from our original script, which was based on the story where a girl receives red shoes and she puts them on. And from the minute she puts them on, she starts dancing, but then she can't stop dancing. She can only chop off her own legs. We noticed that there was a famous Israeli actor working downstairs where we did our thing. And so we went and asked him politely if he wants to do a cameo for us. And he said no. And then we became obsessed, and we started secretly filming him every time he went through the hall, and we put on wigs, and the entire film was about how to get him to act in a movie. But it ended when we accidentally locked him up one day, and we got a call at midnight that he tried to get out of the studio, and we locked the entire house.
This was a building you could lock somebody into? I
have keys to a lot of weird locations in Tel Aviv. I mean, I'll do anything people ask me to do. I had, in art school, I would let people present their thesis on my teeth. I shaved my
on your
head.
teeth?
Yeah, I shave my head so someone can draw on it. And I also very stupidly allowed someone to dump a whole can of yellow wall paint, and I couldn't shut my eyelashes for a week. So we went into the city hall, and it's a museum, and we started playing with this phone. And it turns out it was the first phone in Tel Aviv. It's like, we're not supposed to touch it.
Is that a dumpster behind? Is that multiple dumpsters behind you?
Yeah.
Are you on a construction site or something?
No, this is just Tel Aviv.
This is Tel Aviv, where the streets are lined with dumpsters.
Yeah, there's a famous cartoonist, Israeli cartoonist, Dudu Geva, and he always says, Tel Aviv is so ugly and dirty, it really only takes a couple of lines on a wall, a giant inflatable duck to make things better. So
before you go, would you like to impart any bits of wisdom on our eager audience, their captive ears?
I don't have any wisdom. If
you were to boil yourself down to like a bumper sticker, what would that bumper sticker say?
When things aren't taken seriously, it's when you open up these side doors in reality where you can truly connect. And it's kind of the back door. I don't know how to. No, wait, scratch that. I just think that being silly is the most serious you can be.
All right. Great. Well, I'll get those printed up and I'll put them on people's cars for you.